In this video, we're going to talk about formulas and relationships. So formulas are also often referred to as rules, okay? When we're talking about formulas or rules, a term you will hear quite often is the subject, okay? Now, the subject of an equation is a pronumeral, so that means it's a letter that occurs by itself on the left-hand side. So remember, when we have equations, we have a left-hand side and a right-hand side. So this one here, m equals 3x plus 2y. M is by itself, okay, and it's on the left-hand side. So that is our subject of our equation. Now this here is a definition for a formula or rule, okay, and it simply is, it's an equation containing two or more variables. So the variables will be like the pronumerals, okay, and one of these can be the subject of the equation. So in my example up here, m equals 3x plus 2y, I'm going to highlight all of my pronumerals, y, x, and m, okay, and it satisfies the definition because it's two or more, okay, and I've got three there, and one of them is my subject. Now, in order to use formulas, I've got two steps for you to follow, okay? The first step is to substitute all your known values. So in a question, you might have something like b equals 5 or x equals -2. Whenever you see those pronumerals in your equation, you're just going to swap them, okay? That's called substitution, and you've done that a fair bit. The second step is to just solve the equation. So you won't have letters, you'll have then numbers, and you're just going to solve your equation to work out the unknown value, and we're going to practice doing that now. So I've got an example here for you. It says, consider the rule k equals 3b plus 2. And I want you to find the value of k or b. And so I've got three different types of questions here. Let's firstly do part A. If k, we're going to find the value of k if b equals 5. So I'm going to write down, with all of my working out, I'm going to write down the rule that the question gives me, which is k equals 3b plus 2. That's my rule. Often rules have a rectangle around them as well, okay? Now we are finding k, okay, and I've been told that b equals 5, so that means 3 times 5 plus 2. We have to do BODMAS here, so we've got to do the multiplication first. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2, that's 17. Okay, so k is 17. Let's do the next one. Let's find the value of k if b equals 10. Again, I'm going to write out my rule. K equals 3b plus 2. I'm going to draw a rectangle around it. Now this time b equals 10, so we're going to find k. So 3 times 10 plus 2. 3 times 10 is 30, then we're going to add 2. K equals 32. Let's do this last one, and it's a little bit different to our previous example where we were finding k. This time we're going to find b. So my first step is to write out my equation, or my rule, sorry. K equals 3b plus 2. Now this time, it's told us what k equals. Okay, it's told us that k is 23. So we're going to write what we know. So 23 equals 3b plus 2. We want to find out what b is. So in order to do that, we need to get that b by itself. So we're going to get rid of the outside layers of this b. Okay, and I do that by doing the opposite operation. So the opposite of adding 2 is to subtract 2. And because we have to keep it in balance, we need to do it to both sides. Why can't I write -2, -2? This means on the right-hand side, I can cross out my 2. And I've essentially moved it over to this side, okay? 23 minus 2 gives you 21 equals 3b. Now, I still need to get my b by itself, and at the moment, it's being multiplied by 3, because remember, when you have a pronumeral next to a number like this, you can think of an invisible multiplication there. So the opposite of multiplying by 3 would be to divide by 3. So I can divide both sides by 3. That means on the right-hand side, I can cross out my 3's. 21 divided by 3 is just 7, okay? So 7 equals b, and so we've just found out what b is if k is 23. Let's do the same type of questions with a different rule, and we'll see if it's making some sense. But this time we're going to look at a rule, and it's involving brackets, okay? Now, part A, find the value of k if w equals 10 and x equals 3. So this time I've got 3 pronumerals in my rule. 1, 2, 3. My first step, which I've got up there, is to substitute what we know. Okay, so at the moment we want to find out what k is. We don't know what k is, so I'm just going to, q. I'm going to write q. Now, w is 10. So, 10 brackets 4 plus x, and x is 3. Okay. Now, when we are dealing with brackets, and we did this yesterday, you firstly need to use the distributive law to expand the brackets. And you do that by multiplying 10 by 4 and 10 by 3. And this expands our brackets. So q is going to be equal to 10 times 4, which is 40, plus 10 times 3, which is 30. Now, 40 plus 30 is 70. And there you go. So let's do one more example here. Find the value of x if q is 42 and w is 6. So this time we know what q is. So q is 42 equals 6, because w is 6 and we're swapping it in. 4 plus x. Okay. Now, because we've got brackets, we need to expand them first. 42 equals 6 times 4, 8 plus 6x. Okay, we want to get rid of the outside layer, so we're going to get rid of this 28. 42 minus 28, 18. 6x, we need to get 6 by itself, and I'm just rushing because my iPad's on 1%. Dividing both sides by 6. 18 divided by 6 is 3, so 3 equals x.